Hello and welcome. My name's Ben Hayles with Transform My Poker, and today we're covering off that holy grail of poker questions, how to play pocket jacks. Never an easy subject to cover, and no doubt if you've asked this question, you've been given a myriad of different answers, and some of those answers may look something like this. So you may have been told, oh, just fold them. They're a liability, you'll get into trouble, you might as well just fold them. You may have been told to be conservative with them, just limp or call a raise, but don't start putting in too many chips. You may have been given simple advice to just raise when you get them. Or you may have been given very aggressive advice saying, well, you may as well just 3-bet, 4-bet, whatever. Get your chips in, whatever you have to do, make sure you gamble with them. I've heard all of these things suggested through my time as a poker player and coach. And of course, none of these answers are adequate. Playing pocket jacks is in many ways the same as playing any other hand. So all the same considerations for your play should come into play. You are sometimes going to want to fold pocket jacks. You are sometimes going to want to trap someone by limping in. You are sometimes going to want to raise, well, very often going to want to raise. And then when given the opportunity, you will sometimes prefer aggressive options of 3-betting, 4-betting, or going all in. And it really does depend on all of the preflop dynamics, not just your whole cards. To illustrate this point, I thought today we would do a short quiz. Okay, so there's going to be 4 situations with pocket jacks, and we'll just run through these very quickly. And your job is to think quickly, okay, which of the answers best fits the situation. Okay, so question number 1. You're sat on the big blind in a cash game with 100 big blinds. The action falls to the button who raises to 2.5 bigs. What do you do? Do you just fold your pocket jacks? That seems quite conservative. Are you going to just call? Or are you going to 3-bet to say 8 big blinds? Which of these options would you choose? Well, let's have a look at the answer there. So you should never fold, you should occasionally call, and you should usually 3-bet. And the reason why you should occasionally call is that it's nice to have some stronger hands in our calling range, some surprisingly strong hands. So we could almost always 3-bet here. And if you always 3-bet, I'm not saying that that's a bad mistake. It's not at all. But it's nice to have some stronger hands in our calling range. And that's why we should sometimes call, even if it's just a few % of the time. Question number 2. You're now sat in early position in a cash game. Again, 100 big blind stacks. Action falls to you. Do you fold, limp, or raise? So very, very straightforward scenario. What's your opening strategy with pocket jacks? Okay. I strongly advise that you raise to whatever your normal raise size is. So if you said fold, of course that's wrong. Limping, you shouldn't really ever limp. There may be some bizarre circumstances where limping is a strong tactic in a particular game where you have some maniac players behind that you're looking to trap. But really with pocket jacks, it's not that strong a hand compared with aces and kings. So I would restrict the option of limping really. Question 3, you're sat on the button in a tournament just before the bubble. You've got 20 big blinds. Under the gun has you covered, raises to 3 big blinds. Under the gun +1, re-raises all in, and that would put you all in. And the action folds to you. Do you fold or call? So in this spot, we're facing a 3-bet shove. and we need to look at our equity against the two ranges that have raised and 3-bet shove. Quite a complicated mathematical scenario to go through, but ultimately in this type of spot you should normally fold because your hand is not going to be strong enough to get the required equity, but you can call if you think your opponents are playing loosely. That will happen from time to time. You'll have some really loose players raising, but under the gun and under the gun +1 raising and 3-betting, you're already not doing great with your pocket jacks. So yeah, folding is sometimes the right thing to do with this hand. Question 4, you are sat on the big blind in a tournament with 30 big blinds. Big stack under the gun raises to 3 big blinds. The action folds to you. Do you A, fold, B, call, or C, 3-bet to 9 big blinds? So a very specific spot with a specific stack size, 30 big blinds. How are you responding to the under the gun raiser? Folding pocket jacks seems super tight. Calling with pocket jacks might be a good option. And 3-betting is also there as a play. What would you choose in this spot? 3-betting to a third of your stack might be kind of tricky. Well, the answer, I would say never fold, but normally just call. You can sometimes 3-bet for sure. You might want to choose a specific sizing to help you here. I'm not sure that 9 big blinds is necessarily the best sizing for 3-betting here, but I think just calling is going to serve you better. You're not doing that well against your opponent's range, and you will find in tournaments it often makes more sense to keep pots a little bit smaller, so call a bit more often than you would in a cash game. So as you've seen from this short quiz, there are lots of different ways that you might consider playing Jack-Jack depending on the preflop dynamics. And it's the same for any hand in No Limit Hold'em. It really does depend. Here are a few parting tips for pocket jacks. Always assess your opponent's ranges. That way you can work out whether you're way ahead of their range, in the same kind of ballpark, or even behind their range, which can happen occasionally. If in doubt, be aggressive. You have got the 4th best hand in poker. Let's not be too timid about things. We can be aggressive, generally 3-betting and even 4-betting. Don't be afraid of seeing a flop. There are times when seeing a flop seems dangerous with a hand like pocket jacks because it's so often that an overcard's going to come down. Don't be afraid of that situation unfolding. You can learn a ton from exposing yourself to precisely these difficult circumstances. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to get involved in the comment section below the video, we'd love to hear your thoughts or questions. You can also click the link below to come and visit us at our website, where you can sign up and get your hands on a free training resource to help improve your game today. Just go ahead and click the link. Finally, if you'd like to see more free poker content, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. That way you'll be first to know when we publish fresh content. My name's Ben Hayles with Transform My Poker. Thanks for listening.